Good morning. Hi, it's Kelly again. I had quite an evening. I stayed up way too late. I watched YouTube videos. Then I crawled in bed and I watched CrossFit videos. Um, not very happy with myself when I do that because there was a time when I was younger when I was in incredible shape, amazing shape. I definitely was CrossFit. Um, and I've lost that along the line. It's just gone. 58 years old and phew, I'm in bad shape. So I watched those videos last night and I looked all over YouTube for a woman that I could look up to, somebody that I could follow, somebody that I could relate to, somebody that might mean something to somebody like me. And I found a little gal who had been abused and her father had been alcoholic. Her mother wasn't in the picture. I don't remember what happened to her mom. Her dad beat her, kicked her out when she was like 14 years old. She was in a gang and decided that that wasn't working for her. And she went to beauty school, I believe, or was going to barber college or something. And she met a guy who she ended up marrying. And she is like pregnant with her second child. She's overweight and decides that she wants to be a fitness model. And she goes on to become a fitness model. And she shows you her journey. I watched the whole thing. She ends up in New York City on a stage. And she was very inspirational to me. She did it. She did it. Now, I wouldn't necessarily want to be what she is. That wouldn't be not my choice. But I'm too old. I couldn't be, you know. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't be something. And so then I watched CrossFit on my little laptop. And a man on there said something about being a master, the master of his life, becoming a master. And that really resonated within me. And it was like 2 o'clock by this time. My family gets up very early. And I was dead tired, hard to sleep. I slept until 10. My kids are gone to school. Had a phone call this morning from a neighbor lady at about 7, and she was chipper and bright, and I love her dearly. And here I am trying to sound like I'm not in dead sleep. And I decided that you have to show up. You have to try to be the master of your own life. And so that's my goal. That's going to be what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my messy, dirty, crazy life and I'm going to get my shit together for you, with your help. I want to become the master of my own life. The main thing that I'm going to try to do, excuse me, I got something in my eye. The main thing that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to get in shape. I want to get in shape. I want to start exercising. I want to lose the weight. I want to get in shape. I want to start getting up early. I think 7:30 is 7 o'clock maybe is a perfect time to start with. That works for me. I want to really get into my videos. I'd like to create an area where my videos work better. You know, something I realize that I want to be real. I don't want to be phony, and yet at the same time, if you're going to show up, you should show up looking pretty good. I mean, you should show up in a different shirt every day. I mean, you can't really show up in the same old pajamas, you know. It's not like my life isn't, you don't change clothes every day necessarily. We live on a ranch. You put your coveralls on and you go out and it's 40 below and you're birthing a calf, you know. And you come in and you're wandering around in your long johns. That's our life. If you go to town, you put your Sunday best on. And it's okay, but it's not very civilized if you're going to become the master of your life. And so I'm going to try to change a little bit of that around. You probably won't even notice it. I'm going to start implementing a few things. Like I said, one of them is going to be getting up early. I think that I'll figure out a time to exercise, and I'm going to work on that. What do you guys think? I think it's a good idea. Does anybody want to do it with me? Does anybody want to say, oh, you know, I need this in my life. I need it not because the kids aren't a mess and all of this stuff, but there's a guy too, I think his name is Jake. He does these videos. I watched him a long time ago. I even had his books. He's like an inspirational speaker. And it's not so much what he says that gets to me, but what he does. He has like 3,000 people come into this audience and he talks to them and he gets down into the nitty gritty. There's people there that want to commit suicide and there's people he helps and there's people that he shows up for. You know, he gets them jobs. He does all these things for them. He's married. He decided that he was going to be better than that. He was going to be better than the best. He wasn't going to do 20 push-ups. He was going to do 80. You know, he wasn't going to get up at 6:30, 7:30. He was going to get up at 4. You know, he was going to do 50% more than everybody expected of him when he was doing his best. And I understand that. It's kind of manic, which I can tend to be, and I have to be careful of that. My husband is on me about I do too many projects, and when I get involved in a project, it's a huge Kelly project. I don't do a garden. I do 100 by 60 foot garden. I do huge projects that are way too big, that are overwhelming, and I usually complete them, but I'm like dragging across the finish line in some sort of unmasterful way. And so I'm trying really hard not to have projects, and I realize that this is a project. This is something that might sustain me. I also realize I need to speak clearly on this video. There's times when I have a hard time hearing myself. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to speak better for you too. I lost my train of thought there. Oh, shoot, sorry about that. I wish I could just hit rewind and watch it and see where it was. Yeah, in all my kids, where I'm at right now is dealing with this loneliness. I took care of my parents for 20 years. They were my best friends. I adored my father. Really adored him. And I adored my mother too, but she passed away 20 years ago. Something like that, 2005. Anyway, Wait a second. They were my best friend. My father was the kind of person that every morning he'd be waiting for you. You know, he I used to try to sneak past him. Oh no. It's like, get in here. I want a cup of tea. Come on. How are you? What are you doing? Sit down. Let's have a chat, you know. And he was a genius. He was an absolute genius. He was like a leading authority on Churchill and World War II, and he had a photographic memory, and he had, as he said, as he put it, in his lifetime, he had the opportunity to read, and he read libraries of books. And for one thing, he got very ill. And so for a long, long time, that's what he did. He just read, and he made it his lifestyle, and it's a long, long story. And we'll get there. We'll get there. I'll tell you about it someday. And I don't know why. Oh, so when my father passed away, the house, this huge, beautiful home that I designed and built, became this empty, quiet place that I no longer wanted to show up to, because my kids get up in the morning, boom, they're gone. They go to school. They're out of here by 6:37, and I don't see them again till 8, 9 o'clock at night. They have school activities, and school is 20 miles away. My husband is usually gone by 4:35, and he runs a construction company, and he comes back at 10 o'clock. Now, that being said, it is a ranch, and there's people working, my sister-in-law, everybody's here, they check in on me. There's animals and things like that, but my job is usually to cook and clean and to do the bills and that kind of stuff. And I've never been a house person. I was always out with my dad working, building. He was a carpenter, and we built stuff together, built houses, and I worked, and excuse me. So this loneliness crept in once he was gone. This big old empty house with nobody to say, hey, get in here, you know, and nobody waiting for you when you came home from town. Oh my gosh, I'd go to town, and if I wasn't home by a certain time, he would start calling. And what are you doing? Where are you at? You know, I'm worrying. And as soon as I'd pull in the driveway, he'd be there at the door with his cane, or he had a office chair, and he'd push that office chair in his 90s across the floor, and he'd be at the door waiting, and you'd bring the groceries in, and he'd be like, what'd you get? Oh my gosh, look at that piece of meat. Now, you know, we could do such and such with that. And we go, boy, you got a good deal on that one. And he would be so excited to share. And then you'd unpack groceries and stuff, and he'd say, all right, get a cup of tea. Now, come on. I gotta tell you about what happened to me today. Well, he was sitting in here looking out the window, you know, but he'd have the most amazing stories. And so with all of that being gone, and the emptiness that has taken over, and facing the fact that my kids are 16 years old and really have their own lives going on right now, that I need a life, that I need to do something. So I know they said not to make these long, and I'm rambling is what I'm doing. But it's all part of wanting to show up. I want to show up for you, for me, for life, and you should show up with me. Now I'm gonna get off here and kind of regroup. I don't know that I will publish this. I may or may not, but I haven't had any hits. I put 2 videos out there yesterday. and I've had no views. And I realize that that's the way that is. I probably won't have, but that's hard. It's hard. I would love to have some views. Anyway, okay, for now, I'm going to take a break and try to regroup. So thanks. See you later.